Hey you, welcome to the Free Your Voice podcast. I am your host, Amber Andrews, and today we are back with episode 13. Guys, I'm excited about this episode. I think this is going to be one of the shorter episodes, but real quick before we get into it, I do have a few announcements. I want to start with just specifying that no matter what we talk about in this podcast, always remember that I'm coming from a place of an open heart. I'm coming from a place where I feel like God has led me to discuss that topic. This is a completely non-judgment zone. You can always feel free to leave comments. Always feel free to message me, email me. I leave all of my contact information in the description box on YouTube, but in the comment box, I'm sorry, not the comment box, in the information box on listening platforms as well, such as Spotify and Apple Podcasts. But never hesitate to reach out on any episode and let me know. I'm always free to talk. I'm always free to take feedback, anything like that. But also I want to start with a prayer. Y'all, it is only Wednesday and I am already beat. Like, this week has been so hectic. I've gotten a lot done, but I've also not gotten a lot done, if you know what I mean. It's just like it's iffy. This week is iffy. But I'm gonna start with a prayer because I want to make sure that I'm saying everything that God needs me to say in this episode. So real quickly, Heavenly Father, I just come to you in this prayer. I come to you in this moment so that I can ask you to just take over my voice. Allow me to say everything that you need your children to say, dear God. I pray that you allow those that need to hear this the most to be able to listen. I pray that you allow them to be able to understand where I'm coming from and just walk away with some key concepts that they can apply to their everyday life. I pray for those that are listening, Father God. You know the struggles that they face. You know the burdens on their hearts. And I pray that you just continue to allow them to know that they can come to you in all times, no matter how big or small the issue may be. You will take care of it. You will give them wisdom. You will give them discernment. And you will give them understanding to move forward in the process. I love you and I thank you. And I pray for each and every person that is listening here today. And it is in your name that I say thank you and amen. All right, so by the title, you see that today's episode is called Waiting on God. So I'm going to start you off with this question. What do you do when you feel like God told you to wait and stay exactly where you are in this current season of life? That can be, he told you to stay at a certain job. He told you to stay at a certain school. He told you to stay with a certain relationship. He told you to just stay still, be content. Don't make any movements right now. Just stay where you are at. I feel like personally that is where I am in my life right now. I feel like I'm at a place of just so much stillness to the point where I feel like I am not moving forward as much as I would like to be. And this is just how I feel. I know it's not certainly true because God is always working on the back end, no matter how it looks on the outside, no matter the circumstances that are surrounding you. But just how I feel personally is that, you know, I'm just in a standstill place in my life and nothing or things aren't elevating or moving forward in the way that I would have expected them to at this current point in life. And I'm gonna go a little bit into detail. This season, although it is a waiting season for me, it is a very awkward and uneasy season. If you know me, you know I've never been a patient person. That is something that God is truly working on me with, is to develop and have more patience. So in this current waiting season that I'm in, it is very hard to just stay complacent and be obedient to what God has told me to do when I know that personally I can act on my own fleshly desires and do what it is I feel like needs to be done. For example, my current job that I'm working now, I have been with this company for the last almost 5 years. And when I graduated last December from my community college, I truthfully felt in my heart that God was going to bless me with a new job. And some of you have heard this story, but some of you haven't. In that time, I truly felt like God was going to bless me with a new job because I'm like, okay, God, I did what you told me to do. I went back to school. I got my associate's degree. You know, I'm ready for the next step. Go ahead and bless me with that new job. And I just knew it because I was also doing an internship at this time. And I had it in my mind that that specific internship was going to hire me at the end of my semester for school. And that didn't happen. And I was in this really tough place where I was mad at God. I was frustrated. I wasn't understanding. I kind of just was thinking to myself, like, God, what was the purpose of all this? What was the purpose? If you told me to go back to school, in which I did, and I graduated and I got my degrees, why are you keeping me at this job? Why are you keeping me at this place in life? Why are you telling me to stay here when I've done all that you asked me to do? Now it's your turn to take me to the next level. But it took me a while to realize that God was just asking me to wait. He wasn't saying that, you know, the new job was never going to come. He wasn't saying that I wasn't qualified for the new job. He was simply saying, wait, not yet. You know, the promise is still there. I'm still going to bless you in the way that I told you I would, but I need you to wait and finish and do a few more things in this current area of your life. And it's really hard to grasp that concept sometimes because a lot of us are always trying to think what's next, what's next, what's next. And you really just sometimes have to slow down and you have to just look at it as, okay, this is where I'm at this season. This is what God has told me to do. What is it that I could be doing better in, or what is it that I can do more of? And when I think back to it, I'm really thankful right now. I wasn't thankful at first because I was so caught on what was next, but I'm really thankful right now in this current season of just where I am at and how much I've come to realize that this season does serve me a purpose. Yes, it's a waiting season, but while I'm waiting, I've accomplished so many other things. I've come to realize so many other things, different aspects and different blessings that God has put into play. One of them being this podcast. If I had started a new job, you know, right after I graduated, I would not be doing this podcast, you guys. This podcast would have never even been a thought. It would have never physically been able to be something that I'll be able to do. It just works so perfectly that this podcast, I make time to record my podcast when I come home from work from my current job, and my schedule just aligns perfectly for me to do all that I need to do for this podcast. So it's just little things like that that make me realize, like, there's no way you could have started a new job or went to the next step without doing this first. And that's one of the reasons I felt deep in my heart that God told me, like, you know, wait, I got a few other things I need you to finish before I move you to that next step in life. So that was just one example. Because truth be told, a lot of us, we also, when God tells us to wait, we also move on our own. You know, we don't want to wait. We don't want to be patient. We don't want to see, you know, what God has for us. We think that we can do better on our own. And once again, I'm not judging because I've been there, done that. But as easy as it is to go and apply for a job that you think you might be ready for, you think you might be qualified for, it's like, me personally, I don't do anything in this lifetime, anything on a daily basis. I don't do anything without talking to God first. And what I mean by that is every major step that I ever take in life, I always talked to God first about it, because I don't want to do anything outside of God's will. I don't want to put myself in any situation that he does not want for me, that he has not planned for me in advance. So a smaller example of that is when I bought my car back in 2017. You know, I prayed about it. I talked to God about it. I asked him, God, is this what you want me to do? Is this the right timing? You know, if it is, show me a sign. If it is, make a way out of no way. And that's exactly what he did. I've talked about this before on YouTube. So if you are watching right now, go check out my testimony about how I purchased my brand new car. And you'll get all the detail on that. But that's just one small example, you know. So it's like I put God at the front of my life so much that I don't do anything without talking to him first. So buying my car, even the job I have now, before I applied for this job that I have now, my current position, I talked to God, I prayed to him, I asked for discernment, I asked for understanding, I asked for guidance in the entire process. And, you know, here we are today, 4 or 5 years in, and I'm still very thankful for this job that he blessed me with. So regardless of what it looks like on the outside, and regardless of how I feel about a situation, I'm not going to move forward or step into a new opportunity without consulting with God first. He has a plan for all of us. It's already mapped out. It's already sketched in stone. It's already set aside. It's just about waiting and being obedient enough to him that you get to that point, that you get to that blessing, that you get to see these things come to pass, that you get to live it out. So that's kind of where I'm at now in life. And another example I'll give you, which is more serious and more major, because we talked about working. So we talked about how right now I am staying at my current job because I'm waiting on God. I'm waiting for his time and to bring me to my next career move. So another small example would be my experience with applying to school, a new school, for my bachelor's and my master's program. So like I said, I graduated from my community college in December of 2020. And after graduation, once I realized, you know, God wasn't taking me to my next career, I started to ask God and pray to God, well, God, what is it that you want me to do right now? Do you want me to go back to school? Do you want me to further my education? You know, is it in your will for me to have a bachelor's degree, to have a master's degree? Like, let me know what I need to do next. And as much as I did not want to go back to school, because that's another topic, but you know, I really did not want to go back to school. I had it in my mind that I would get my associate's degree and that would be enough. But we all know this day and age, the associate's degree is literally like a high school diploma. It means nothing. So when I started to see, like, you know, God, like, what is it that I do now? Because I'm stuck, you know, I don't know what's next. I really just started to pray because I didn't want to go back to school if it was not, you know, a part of his plan. Not to mention I didn't want to go anyway, but if it was a part of his plan and if he showed me that, then I'm going, you know, I'm going to be obedient and I'm going to go back to school. So I prayed about it, prayed about it. And finally, I got my answer from God, which was, you know, go ahead, apply. I need you to go back to school. I need you to get this next degree so that I can actually place you in your career field. So it was kind of like a revelation, you know, it was a good feeling because things started to finally make sense. Like, okay, God, like I see what you're doing here. So even as far as what school to go to, you know, I asked God for direction in that specific category. I don't want to apply to a certain school that God did not have in his plan. So I'm not going to say my school on here, but those that know, I applied to that school. I took a leap of faith. I stepped out, you know, on God because I was like, I only want to do this if this is you. If this is where you want me to be, it will work out. I will get accepted. I'll be able to afford it. You know, I'll be able to get financial aid, whatever it is, it will all work out. So I did everything I needed to do on my side. And I continued to pray and I continued to ask God for confirmation. And I remember the day I submitted my application, as soon as I submitted it, I had received the email saying, you know, because of the pandemic, that applications were being pushed back, that it was taking them longer to approve applications and go through applications, and that I might not hear anything back, you know, for months to come. And when I first saw that email, I was a little, you know, skeptical because I was like, wait a minute, like, is this a sign from God that he doesn't want me to go to this school? But, you know, I continued on with the process. I pressed forward. And so I submitted the application. I remember the next day, literally, you guys, 24 hours later, maybe not even 24 hours. The next day, I woke up that morning and I checked my email as I always do. And there it was. I had an email from the school saying that I was accepted. Mind you, they sent me an email saying it would take months to know whether or not you got accepted, you know, or not because of the pandemic. But I got my confirmation and acceptance email the next day. And I remember I literally had tears coming to my eyes because it was just this major feeling of relief, this major feeling of, yes, I'm doing exactly what it is God wants me to do. You know, who else, like, how else would that have happened in the way that it did other than for it to be God? And to this day, things have been going great at this school. I'm in like my 4th or 5th, month at this school now, and I'll be done in 2023 with my bachelor's, and I'm also taking classes for my master's, so I'm in like an accelerated program. But anyways, things are going great. I'm getting amazing grades by the grace of God. I have not gotten anything but an A grade in all of my classes. So it's just crazy to think about if I would have just went to any old school that, you know, I thought was the best because so-and-so said, like, you know, one of the higher up schools, if I would have went to any one of those schools, things could be going terrible right now. Not only would I probably not be able to afford it, but, you know, my grades probably wouldn't be good. It's just all about making the decisions that God leads you to make. So that was a small example. We talked about my current career. We talked about how I relied on God to get to that position. We talked about school, how I relied on God to get to my program that I'm doing for my master's and my bachelor's. The last topic I have, this one is is the topic of singleness. So if you have not listened to the last 2 episodes, please go listen to them, because they will give you a bit of background, a bit of reference. But right now in this single season, another major topic of my single season, my waiting season, is singleness. And I think a lot of people can relate to this one, because I feel like we all, how do I say this without sounding too cocky? Okay, for me personally, I'm single by choice. I can easily not be single. Take that how you want. I can easily not be single, but I choose to be single. And part of it is because, or most of it is because, I'm waiting on God. I'm not going to put myself in a relationship that, 1, I know is not centered on Christ, and 2, that I know God didn't bring to me or didn't send to me. I'm serving this season of waiting for, my future spouse, and God will present that to me in due time when he feels like the time is right. Now, I could easily act on fleshly desires and go out here and, get on a dating app, or, entertain some of the individuals that have expressed interest in me. I could easily get into a relationship without even, asking God, like, hey God, like, is this from you? Is this who you want me to be with? It's easier to do that than it is to actually wait on God and see who it is he has for you. And that goes for men and women. So in this waiting season, not only am I waiting for my next career move and waiting for, what it is God wants me to do as far as finishing school, but I'm waiting and I'm remaining single for that person that God has set aside for me. And like I said, we all can easily act on our own fleshly desires, but that's when you have to sit back and really ask yourself, like, is this what God will want for me? God's not going to put you in a situation, let alone a relationship, that he did not plan for you. I feel like the easiest way to tell if something was sent by God, and this goes beyond relationships, but in anything in life, the easiest way to tell if it was sent by God or not is, how is the process going? Has it been giving you a peace of mind? Has it been easy? Has it been, nothing but positive feedback or positive feelings towards it? Then, more than likely that was sent by God, because God's not going to send you anything that's going to put you in a place of destruction, or put you in a place of angriness, or put you in a place of failing. That's not characteristics of God. So if you find yourself in this place, and this could be a relationship, this could be a job, this could be any situation in life, if you find yourself in this place where nothing seems to be going right, everything is failing around you, you don't feel at peace about it, you are upset, you're frustrated, you feel like you're running out of options, you might need to do an assessment. You might need to ask yourself, like, what is it that I'm doing here? Is this what God has for me? And he'll give you an answer. He'll tell you, like, no, this is not what I want you to do. This is not the person I want you to be with. This is not the job I want you to work. I need you to just wait. I have something for you. God has promises and blessings for all of us, but it's about waiting. It's about being obedient. It's about seeking his face. It's about, asking him, what is it that you want me to do, God? Yeah, I just said a lot. I just got real excited. I don't know if you can tell, but that is the gist of what I wanted you guys just to get from today's message, is really make sure that you are not out here in this crazy world acting off of fleshly desires, acting off of influence, acting off of just everything that's going on around you guys. I know it's hard not to get caught up in the things that go on in this world, especially on a day-to-day basis in our personal lives, but just make sure every decision that you are making in your life, make sure you have checked it over with God first. Make sure you have his confirmation that that is what he wants you to do, and that is what he wants you to pursue. that is pretty much it. I don't think I have too much more for you guys. I hope that you found something from this message. I think I just did a 20-minute message, and I said it was going to be short, but you know, once I get started. But anyways, I hope you found something in this 20 minutes that you can take away and apply it to your life. Once again, comment section is always open on YouTube. Shoot me an email, whatever it is. Follow me on social media. Shoot me a DM, whatever it is, you guys. I'm always looking for that feedback. I'm always looking just to hear how you guys feel. Don't forget to rate the podcast. Please leave a rating or a review. And I'll definitely catch you guys in the next episode. I think that's it. I love you guys. Be safe. Peace.